Welcome to Ladies Group Chat, where brain fog, fake drama, and brand meltdowns collide. A man quit Zyrtec and got his brain back. Somebody stole 400,000 Kit Kats, and reality TV might be running on straight-up arts and crafts lies. Honestly, that is a very complete portrait of the internet right now. One of the most relatable plot twists here is Ben realizing his daily Zyrtec was apparently the source of the brain fog he'd been talking about for years. That hit because allergy meds are so casual, they're over the counter, they're everywhere, and people treat them like they're invisible. Meanwhile, some people are indoors hiding from pollen, wiping yellow dust off their cars trying to function, and others are just out there raw-dogging spring with a clear mind rude. The bigger point is that the quality of life trade-off is real. You want to breathe, but you also want a functioning frontal lobe. The burnout conversation was actually smart. TikTok fame can hit so fast that your brain and your workflow never catch up. If you blow up overnight, suddenly every post feels like a test, every dip feels like failure, and your whole life becomes content inventory. The practical advice was very athlete-coded in the best way. Work in quarters or seasons, plan actual rest, delegate, and stop acting like posting more is always posting better. Also, reputation matters. This world is tiny. The assistant you ghosted or the contact you burned can absolutely come back later as the brand person controlling the check. I love the tip to film the whole short video first and build the hook in editing. That makes so much sense because the first 3 seconds have become this deranged pressure cooker, and now creators are basically auditioning for survival every time they hit record. Do the video, find the real point, test a few hook options, move on. Perfectionism is not a business model. Same with team building. Manager first, lawyer when contracts start getting real, agent when the bigger opportunities show up, and maybe don't sign the first shiny deal waved in your face. There was a lot of side-eye for reality TV storylines that feel way too produced, like staged kisses, weird Instagram notes, or props that scream producer brainstorm at 2 a.m. And the April Fool's critique was fair. A prank should be quick and funny. If your prank requires brand strategy, humiliation, and a multi-post rollout, congratulations, you've made a hostage situation. The genre also keeps leaning on romantic tension because it works. Put attractive people in close quarters, and production will treat every glance like the Zapruder film. The Amanda and Wes story landed because even the accusation feels socially radioactive. Dating your friend's ex is already messy, and doing it in a world where brand ties, contracts, and caste politics are involved makes it 10 times worse. People clocked the suspicious timing, the Buffalo Wild Wings tag, the dramatic black background reveal, and immediately started asking if this was heartbreak or marketing. Either way, the warning was clear. Even if there's no proven cheating, a thoughtless move can still trigger backlash, hurt friendships, and scare off deals if brands think the optics are bad enough. This is where the morality clause conversation got very real. Brands do not need a criminal conviction to panic. Sometimes perceived ethical mess is enough. That connects directly to Tiger Woods being arrested after a rollover crash with reported signs of impairment and a refusal to take a breath test. People were debating sanctions and legacy and whether public sympathy still holds after multiple incidents. And honestly, that's what repeated DUIs do. They change the emotional math. And yes, the billionaire driving himself point is brutal but valid. At a certain level of wealth, choosing to drive impaired feels even more indefensible because you had options. The AI deepfake stuff is already exhausting. Shaq had to go on his podcast and deny fake DMs supposedly sent to Sabrina Carpenter. Then an AI chatbot reportedly treated a satirical impersonation like it was the real person, which is exactly the kind of dumb little systems failure that becomes a giant misinformation problem. We're heading into an era where fake texts, fake images, fake chat logs, all of it will look convincing enough to travel before anyone verifies anything. That is terrible for public discourse, great for scammers, and deeply annoying for literally everyone else. I need to discuss the robbery menu here because it was wild. On one side, 4 masked thieves grabbed Renoir, Matisse, and Cézanne paintings worth more than $10 million in a 3-minute raid in Parma. On the other side, somebody stole 12 tons of Kit Kat. That's about 400,000 bars, a crime with logistics. Both stories are catnip because people love audacity, but they also raise the same question: what exactly is your resale plan here? And corporate PR rarely helps. A tone-deaf brand statement after a bizarre theft just makes the whole thing funnier in the worst possible way. Becky G's conversation about people-pleasing and codependency was one of the more grounded parts of all this. That idea that girls get praised for being mature when they're really just carrying too much too early is painfully familiar, and it can turn into anxiety, perfectionism, and panic later. Her point about documenting specific incidents in a relationship also made sense. Not obsessive detective work, just enough clarity that accountability doesn't dissolve into vague fighting. And the social media layer makes everything worse, because once a relationship conflict gets posted, everybody expects public loyalty, public outrage, and a fully branded moral stance by noon. The cookbook process sounded intense in the most real way. About a year of work, 77 recipes, repeated testing, ingredient cost piling up, and a textured sketchbook full of recipe notes. I also appreciated the honesty about imposter syndrome. Not every food book has to arrive wearing a chef hat and a Michelin stare. Framing it as personality-driven, memory-driven, and authenticity-led felt way more compelling than pretending to be something hyper-credentialed. The TikTok tourism rant was deserved. Sometimes a place goes viral, and then you show up and realize you've been influenced into a mild disappointment. The Jellyfish Museum and Balloon Museum examples really hit that nerve of, okay, is this actually special, or does it just photograph well for 12 seconds? And once animal welfare questions enter the chat, the vibe shifts fast. Viral discovery is not the same thing as ethical or worthwhile. There was also some nostalgia for the old pop culture commentary era, stuff like The Soup, Chelsea Lately, Fashion Police, when celebrity nonsense felt weirdly communal. It's hard to recreate that now because the internet is faster, messier, and way more fragmented. Maybe that's why people are also pushing for healthier media diets now, especially around motherhood content. Constant doom and complaining can genuinely wreck your head if you're already vulnerable. That's it for this round of Ladies Group Chat. Protect your brain, verify your screenshots, and maybe don't trust every dramatic Instagram reveal you see. See you back here on Ladies Group Chat. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.